everyone. Welcome to episode 37 of a Tailgate Update. We got the full crew here today, so that's awesome. Caleb, Julie, of course, Ryan, and I'm showing up to add a little bit. Anyway, we're going to start today with Summer Madness, and I'm going to ask Brian to lead off with the NBA playoffs.
As good as it was last round, the conference finals have been garbage in my opinion. Indiana Pacers cannot keep up with Boston right now. They had a 16-point lead last night and blew it. They're down 3-0 in the series. Boston's still continuing that cakewalk they've had since round one. And Dallas is up 2-0 on Minnesota. Minnesota was hot after last series, taking out the defending champs. Waving to the crowd after Game 7 in Denver, which was a cold move by Anthony Edwards. And then Minnesota can't hold a lead now. And Luka dropping a step back on their heads, taking Game 2. I mean, Minnesota's got to step it up. Pacers got to step it up. Otherwise, this round is going to be a wash and nobody's going to care.
Yeah, the Timberwolves and Mavericks are playing this evening. I believe 8 p.m., but I could be wrong on that. I know everyone's going to tune in for that.
Yeah, it's usually 8 p.m. Yeah, that's when they play. But everybody's turning in. Oh my God, Memorial Day weekend, everybody's turning in.
Everybody, 8 p.m. on a Sunday, right after
Eastern time.
Some burgers and beer all day. Yeah, everybody.
Why are you calling out Caleb like that?
I was not. I was really being unspecific because that is a very American thing to do.
It is?
Yeah. Invite me to your barbecue, man. I'd be there.
Well, it's a long drive if you get to my barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think last night that Indiana basically blew their chance of anything. They had it under control. Boston was kind of underwater most of the game, but they just didn't let go of the rope and they just hung on. And at the end, when a team is shooting real high from three, sometimes that last 5 minutes kicks in and the shots aren't dropping. And that's kind of what happened to Indiana. They had a guy that was like backup point guard, Nimhart, and he had broken his playoff high by halftime. So sometimes relying on those guys at the end is really tough, and he just got stripped at the end when they had the chance to win.
Pacers are without Halliburton right now, right? Tyrese Halliburton's out.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I believe he broke his hand or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
A hamstring, maybe. I think he's out for 3 and probably for 4 as well. So I think it was.
Oh, it was Jalen Brunson that broke his hand.
Yeah,
in Game
Jalen
7.
Brunson.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I said. This series, this round is going to be a wash if you can't pick it up and take it to at least 6.
I'm hoping Minnesota can win at least one of the 2 at home, and maybe both of them. It was different with them because they're going to Dallas now, and they blew the first 2 at home. So they've got to win one of the 2 at Dallas.
It might be one of those
series to look like this.
Did you expect this series, the Western Conference Final Series? No,
I
thought it.
Anthony Edwards ran out of gas. It seems.
I thought it would be 1-1 after the first 2. To be honest, Dallas. I didn't think of Dallas at all this year. They just kind of floated in the middle of that. Clinching, not playing in the play-in tournament. They just floated there and nothing happened. I feel like they sat between 4 and 6 all year, and just kind of sat there, and we're just kind of trudging along like the marathon it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like that's the NBA almost these days. Like it kind of just they like a spot where they're at. Like, make sure guys aren't cooking themselves too early in the season, and then get to the playoffs, and then all bets are off.
Well, I can understand that, yeah, but you also got to understand that Minnesota didn't do that. They were the 2 seed or 1 seed this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were cooking themselves all year. They didn't clinch the 1 seed until last 3 games of the season.
Yeah, Cat's a bum.
Cat's a yeah. I don't think he's that great, to be honest, but that's just me. Anthony Edwards has kind of been carrying that team, to be honest.
Yeah.
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 So unless anybody else has got anything else about the NBA playoffs, let's move into the NHL playoffs.
Oh, this is much better.
This one's been a
That's
lot more
what I
fun.
was thinking. Yeah.
Much more fun, much more interesting.
And all 4 teams left haven't won in at least 20 years or something like that. So
Nice.
I love that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I
rooting
have
for the
a
Oilers.
few notes here. We're on game 3 also on the NHL. And both teams are tied 1-1 so far. I mean, like game 3
Both series, yeah.
today. Yeah, so anyway, 1-1, which is way better than any 2-0s, which we're seeing in the NBA. Rangers and the Panthers play on Sunday at 3, and the Stars and the Oilers play on Sunday at 8:30, which is also another great time to watch a game.
I can't believe that the Western Conference Finals is playing again today. I figured they'd take the day off, let the Eastern Conference Finals take the spotlight, and then play the next day. But
no, they do. They play. They don't play till Monday.
Oh, okay. She said Sunday, so then threw me off. Okay.
Let me.
Yeah. This I love the NHL playoffs. They're way more exciting, way more entertaining.
Oh yeah. Okay. Tomorrow at 8:30.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than playoff hockey, man.
I don't playoff baseball is up there, to be honest.
It is up there. But I don't watch it as astutely and like as intensely as I do playoff hockey. I don't know why. Like when my team's not involved, I'm still locked in NHL playoffs. Baseball, it depends on how the matchup is, but I don't know. I also like the only team I don't like left is the Stars.
Really?
Like I like
same division.
I want the Rangers. I wish that the Rangers would have won with Henry
Lundqvist, yeah.
And the Panthers, take it or leave it. Have they won before? I don't know.
No, they've been to 2 cups and lost both of them, and we're not even close to those cups.
So there's a lot to root for there.
Yeah, aside from Edmonton, I'm okay with anybody winning the cup. I like Dallas. I like Ottinger. I like Ben. Florida seems like a gritty team.
Yeah.
I like Kachuk. He's a gritty guy. And the Rangers, like I said last week, the Rangers are like one of the first teams I ever cheered for.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched last week, but I had a whole story about it. But
I mean, has it been, how many decades has it been for the Rangers?
30 years.
30 years?
1994 was the last time they won a cup, and they beat the Vancouver Canucks in 7 games. So
earned it.
Dallas. Huh?
Oh, I follow a YouTube channel that's called I Don't Give a Kachuk, and I always thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Dallas hasn't won since 99, right?
What?
Dallas hasn't won since 99.
I think so.
Yeah, they beat Buffalo in 6. They
Was
did
that 99?
Yeah, they went in 99 and then lost the following year to the Devils in 6.
Okay, that's the year I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
With the Dallas Stars.
Edmonton hasn't won since the 80s. And Florida's never won one.
I love Edmonton. Draisaitl, McDavid. I wish that they just had a better Tendy, but
I wish that they just never made it to the Western Conference Finals. I cannot stand Edmonton.
I appreciate also, Caleb, when they have teams that haven't won in a while, because it feels like you can really get behind whoever wins.
Yeah,
it's like it's rooting for the little guy, right?
It's parody.
All the little guy.
Yeah,
it's parody though. We don't have the Vegas of the worlds anymore. They're gone. They were gone in the first round. Florida is a continuous contender. They've only been to 1 cup in the last 27 years, since 96. So
I think I remember that.
That was a sweep from Colorado.
Yeah, I'm only half joking because
Yeah, it's not like the NBA where you had the same team every year. For what was it, 10 years you had a LeBron led team in the finals, and then for 4 straight years it was LeBron versus Curry in the finals, and everybody's like, why? Can we get somebody else, please?
The Kansas City Chiefs every year.
Yeah,
It's just so superstar driven.
Nobody
this year
cares.
it's been at least a decade for any of these four, though. I mean, Boston, it's
Yeah.
been a while.
Boston's been there a lot, it feels like, or at least in this spot a lot recently.
Are we talking
they
about
haven't been able to crack it yet.
Won it in 12 or 15 years, though, right?
Yeah.
talking about the NBA?
Yes.
Yeah, Celtics were there literally 2 years ago in the finals against Curry.
But they lost.
Yes, they lost in 6. Yeah, they lost in 6. They haven't won it since 08.
Yeah. But just think about it, even for the NBA, it's like the NHL. It'll be a winner that hadn't won in like a decade, which has been probably 4, 5, 6 years since that's happened. I mean, I think Dallas won with Avery Johnson like a decade ago, 2011 or 12 something.
Yeah, they beat.
Who's that now?
They beat Braun the first year.
Dallas?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, his first year in Miami, they took him out.
So, I mean, for both of the playoffs, it's going to be a brand new winner, a brand new dynasty.
I suppose, well, I wouldn't use the word dynasty, but yeah, a chance for a dynasty.
It just would feel better if the series wasn't 3-0 and 2-0 in the NBA.
If the series were closer.
And it could close, they could tighten up, but right now it doesn't feel great.
At 3-0, Indiana's pretty much packing their bags up and getting ready to go to Kokomo.
I agree with you. For this week, the NHL has been much more competitive and enjoyable. I hear a lot more about the NHL than the NBA.
This season in general, really, Jay. I don't know. Do you want to segue to the next one, or do you wanna...
that's fine. The off-season stuff about New Jersey Devils finally getting their new head coach.
Yeah. I was thinking we could talk about the playoffs record viewership.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Viewership for the NHL is way up. You said.
Yeah, it's 1.16 million viewers in the U.S. for this year's Stanley Cup. That's on average. That is also a 9% increase from last year, and the conference semis average 1.55 million, which is 12% jump from last year. So people are loving this, the playoffs this year. I don't know what to say about that. It's been great. Let's see. Game 1 for the Rangers and Panthers? We had overtime, right?
Same with Edmonton
and Dallas. And then
2 overtimes.
That was double overtime. And then we had the Boston and Florida series coming down to game 6, where Florida scored with like 34 seconds left in the game to take a 2-1 lead, and then took the series. So it's high octane stuff and adrenaline and all that good shit. Sitting on the edge of your seat. Yeah. That's what people like to see, and that's what people are getting.
Yeah, I mean, my theory on all that is that 2 different factors. It's like, number one, if you're wanting to find a hockey game or a basketball game or whatever, from 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's a lot easier. You can just Google, where is this game on TV, and you can find it. And 3, 4, 5 years ago, if you didn't know, it was more difficult to find it. And so
that's true.
People are used to looking for a game. Even the NBA was on just 2 places 5 years ago, and now there could be 4 or 5 different channels that the game's going to be on. And the second thing is, like we were talking about with the NBA, there's no marquee teams really left in it. No teams that won it in the last 5 years. Most of the top players are out. There's no LeBron. There's no Steph. There's no Greek Freak. There's none of the people that are used to following with the NBA. And that would help the people that are just casual fans. There's a great hockey game on. They'd rather see that than like a really mid or mediocre basketball game.
Absolutely. And as of May 21st, going into the conference finals, this is where the numbers came from, the 1.16 million. That's across ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, TNT, TBS, and True TV.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so the Florida Panthers I was just talking about. The Game 6 game on May 17th averaged 2.2 million on TNT, True TV, and Max. In the first game of the Hurricanes and Rangers series, averaged 2 million on ESPN. So the NHL is smoking it this year, man. They're awesome.
And plus, like you were reading, the network lineup reads almost identical to the NBA network lineup. I'll switch on TNT looking for a basketball game. If it's a good hockey game, I'm just going, leave it on there, especially if it's in the third quarter and they're even or one goal apart.
Yeah, so one last number here. The first round of the playoffs averaged 934,000 viewers, the second most watched first round for the NHL in the US. Wow. So yeah, they're killing it this year, man.
Good for them.
The product is awesome. They're all in, man.
Which, speaking of the TNT show for NBA, it's going bye-bye.
What do you mean it's gone bye-bye?
With Barkley and Shaq and
the NBA Insider or Inside the NBA or some shit like that.
Yeah, whatever.
They're canceling it. Yeah,
just
nuts,
because
man.
TNT
is not going to win the media rights.
Yeah, TNT no longer has. They're not going to have the media rights for NBA anymore.
NBA is stupid. That's
the best show. I will watch Inside NBA every day, just because of Chuck and Shaq.
It's just fun. Like I don't know. It's a good show. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I would watch TNT basketball.
Stuff like that, man, just ruins sports, in my opinion. Everything is so commercialized, and I'm sure every generation has felt this, but it just
the almighty dollar, brother,
kills like the fandom,
The almighty dollar, brother.
Yep.
Yeah. The only off-season move that was really mentioned was the Devils hiring the new head coach finally.
Yeah. This is funny.
Who just got axed from the
Leafs.
Yeah.
So he was fired on May 9th from the Maple Leafs after losing Game 7 to Boston in the quarterfinals. Made the playoffs in all 5 seasons with Toronto with 1 series win. Yeah, so Sheldon Keefe is the new Devils head coach, a team that isn't ready to go. They just made the conference finals, or not the conference finals, conference semis last year. Missed the playoffs this year. This team is not ready to go yet. Their goaltending situation is up in the air still. They have Jack Hughes. They have decent defensemen. Other than that, they're in limbo. They're middle of the pack, might fight for a playoff spot, but might not make it. At most, maybe a 7 seed. That's depending on their offseason moves. But right now, that's what they are. They're as high as a 7 seed, in my opinion. And this guy went to 5 straight playoffs with 1 series win. What is the move here? Why is it?
It felt like he ran into Boston every year. So
eventually, you got to get over him. This is like Buffalo. It's like Buffalo against Kansas City. You got to get over him.
Boston's been a super team, it feels like, for quite a while, and they're picking 10th this year.
Devils?
Yeah, I think they might have had the second worst record in hockey, maybe third worst, and they're picking 10th. So that's not exactly an award or reward.
The Devils?
Yeah.
Nah, man, they just missed a playoff spot like 2 weeks before the season ended.
What am I looking at then?
The Ducks had the third worst record in the league, bro.
Either way.
Yeah, they're picking 10th. They're a lottery pick. So I don't get it. I don't get the hiring. He was fired 3 weeks ago for being a perennial loser. And now they're going to think this guy's going to lead this young team to a cup, maybe get them past the second round. I mean,
it's probably the best hire they could do at this point, though. I mean, it's not like an awful hire,
Yeah, but the playoffs aren't even over,
Who do the Leafs have on their team? They got
Matthews. Their goaltending situation is pretty good.
Is it?
It's decent.
They got
They
Tavares
got-
still.
Yeah, they got Nyquist. I'm
They
blanking
got a
on
few
names off the top of my
guys.
head.
I mean,
They have
my
they
point
have the
is,
talent, Caleb,
they're not loaded though. Like
but they have talent.
you're going to put that team up against Boston, who's like loaded to the gills outside of this past year. I mean,
They took them
come
to
on,
7.
which I think is impressive
It is.
for what they are.
This Toronto team is a hell of a lot better than what New Jersey's got going on.
For sure. For sure.
That's all I'm saying.
We ready for some NFL talk?
Absolutely, bro.
Roger Goodell is going to is favoring allowing private equity owners instead of just singular person owners into the NFL ownership group. Does anybody give any thoughts onto that or your opinions?
Caleb, go ahead and take this, bro.
I think that's stupid.
All right, tell us why.
What? Why? I don't get it. What?
Just tell us why you think it's stupid. You just said
No, I
stupid.
know that's what I'm saying. I just don't get it. Like, why? Why is that even a thing? I mean, this isn't stocks. You know what I mean?
I guess they want to do it. I guess they want to do it because it would allow teams to provide short-term infusion with cash to finance projects like stadium renovations, so they wouldn't have to rely on taxpayers.
You know what they do then? And the crazy idea is donors. Maybe, I don't know. Like teams have been doing. I mean, the McCaskies obviously aren't footing. They're not going to come up with $5 billion on their own to fund a project, right? So you're going to get a little bit from the city or the state, and then you're going to get donors to help with the rest of the way. So they've always, you don't need private equity like this. It's just ridiculous, man. Again, the commercialization of sports just drives me insane.
Goodell says it's been well thought out. Shouldn't that count for something?
Yes, you're right. It should. Trust Goodell.
My only thought was maybe this has something to do with them trying to expand into international markets. And it's a lot easier to find a billionaire in the U.S. than if you're trying to move into Europe or even like Mexico City, like they were rumored to be doing. And also, they may be looking more at the soccer model, where in Europe, that's kind of the way that they've been doing things for years, where it would be like a conglomerate, really owning the big teams like a Manchester United and Real Madrid. It's not just a singular figurehead.
I get like the financial aspect of it for sure, but like this isn't soccer. We aren't Europe. This is the NFL. It was born here, right? And I think that the overextending we've already tried having the NFL and Europe thing before, and it failed miserably.
I have a quick question. Here. So
like why are we going to Brazil? Why are we going to London every freaking year, multiple times a year? Like it's played out. It's cute at first, and now we're logistically you're killing teams and players by doing this shit. It's just money. What's your question?
My question is,
Esau.
So Goodell thinks this private equity issue will also detail the viability of an expanded 18-game schedule, citing player safety as a chief consideration. How would 18 games be good for player safety?
And how would this help?
Well, because 1 + 1 is 3, so there you go.
Carry the 2, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, and 18-game schedule, that's fine. But guess what you need now? Now you need 2 bye weeks.
So this 17 games is a long season, so we want to make sure we look at that and make sure that we continue the safety efforts. You've seen a lot of
weeks.
You've seen a lot of the outcomes of that kickoff. So a good example of that, the hip drop. So we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think these are all false arguments. I don't think that the arguments he's making are what they really are thinking about. But I look at things like in a lot of places in the South, especially like the Nashville expansion, which the owners took maybe a quarter quarter of a billion that they're going to be responsible for, and the state is going to be responsible. The state and local governments are responsible for a lot of it. In a lot of parts of the country that are going through it, especially some of the rural South and other parts in the West, there's some resentment against some of the big owners that are, that are billionaires, and they're kicking in like 50 or 100 million to a renovation that's going to cost 2 billion, and then getting half of the money that's going to come in off of those renovations. And it's just maybe he knows a lot more about the resentment that's growing, and is just trying to forestall anything because I mean, they know what people are saying in Congress and other places, and now that college sports is becoming big business too, maybe he's just trying to get in front of things.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he's just an
and
idiot.
Get to the root of the problem. You force your owners.
That could be right too.
Force your owners to foot the bill in.
You can't force the owners. They own the league.
And
I can't force them to do anything.
Now, instead of pleasing, and like it just becomes this whole political bureaucratic thing when you start involving multi-billionaire companies, right?
Yeah.
Tell me how that's good for the consumer.
It's not, Caleb.
Since the 1920s, since I researched that, there's always been a few affluent teams from like a few areas that have sort of dominated and had more. Back then it was like they called it the Ohio League, and they were the only teams that actually had like a real schedule set and like had any semblance of like formality. And it was like 4 or 5 different teams, always the Chicago Bears, which Hallis, always well, they've kind of changed names over the years, but the point is there's always been like the top dogs who are in certain northern regions where like everybody else kind of falls to the wayside or feels like an addition. It's been that way since the league started, so this is hardly new. I mean, it's always been a little cliquey party with like some people ruling from.
Yeah, and when you look historically in the U.S., how incredibly huge Chicago and Cleveland were 100 years ago as opposed to now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Hallis basically founded the league, and then he was a player and a coach and everything else. He did everything, and the owner of the team, sometimes all at once. And so like there's still like some of that mentality, I think, like left over for like, because any other smaller teams like that weren't in that Ohio-ish northwest, I don't know what you would call that, northern region area. Like,
Ohio? That's kind of Midwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like the Ohio Valley, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Midwest, right?
Well, I always hear that Chicago's in the north, and it was a part of it. I think Ohio is sort of a
well,
I don't know why they called it that, but I think it was more metaphorical than anything.
Yeah,
But, any other kind of team, especially in the southern regions when they had one, was sort of like the hillbillies on the side. So I kind of think like that vibe has very much continued since George Hallis ruled the show for like God knows how many years. So
hey, George Hallis saved the Packers.
Well, there is a reason why he has a trophy named after him. So
he's not my favorite either, but what white man from the 1920s is.
That's a topic for another day. Yep.
But we were talking about people talking out both sides of their mouth, and I hear that Sean Payton is up to some things now.
Oh, he's the king of that.
Hey, Julie, take the lead on this. Take the lead on this for me.
Okay.
You're the one that brought it to my attention. So
yeah. Referring to the QB competition between Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, and Zach Wilson, he said because they're trying to see who's going to start, he called them all orphaned dogs.
As in nobody wants them, and they've been to a home that they've had to be rehomed?
Yeah,
some
and
shit.
I guess like because none of them I guess he's saying they're all homeless like dogs like competing for the top slot. It's a really weird analogy. I don't quite understand it.
He drafted Bo Nix in the
Got
first
that dog
round.
in him.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson is a first round. I realize, and then Jarrett Stidham is just kind of here for some reason. I don't understand. Like, yeah, the analogy is rude and not perfectly logical. Like all orphaned dogs, like so they're all like in a shelter, like hoping that this one is their own. Like, and I'm starting to think he just hates every QB that isn't Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Sean has a way.
I know that I'm a Saints fan by proxy, so I'm used to his ways. But even I was taken back by his referencing his QB room as orphan dogs.
And it's a horrible reference too because he's the one that drafted Bo Nix at what was it, like top 20, right? Top 15.
12th.
He drafted him 12th.
He did say he's ahead of where other rookies would be, which I'm like, I'm not sure how he would know that because Sean Payton's literally never had a rookie quarterback.
Okay.
But
well, he was a coordinator for Dallas back in the day when he had Romo. So when Romo just came in, so
all right, so he's got one.
Yeah, one from God knows.
And he did draft Taysom Hill to be a backup, to which he turned into a tight end.
I don't even know what Taysom Hill is. I don't even think Taysom Hill is a football player at this point.
He's a cyborg at this point.
He's
just doing
everything.
whatever.
He doesn't count either because
he's just out there collecting checks.
He was drafted as a quarterback, and he was Drew Brees' backup. So I mean, he did have a rookie quarterback with Taysom Hill.
Okay, well, Taysom Hill is not a good example of a typical.
It's not because he's like a running back, tight end, fullback, quarterback, kick returner thing. So he's like the NFL Swiss Army knife that I didn't think
Romo would be his only example to.
Yeah, I think Romo would be his only example.
Which Romo was fine enough, right? So.
No,
he's a hell of a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for.
If Bo Nix has a Tony Romo career, I think
someone turn off the car alarm, please.
Would be excellent.
If Bo Nix turns out to be Tony Romo, he's above expectations, to be honest.
Yes.
Because that's a fine career that people shit on a lot, and I don't think it's right. He gets a bad rap. He gets a bad rap, and he shouldn't. If you watch Tony Romo play, he was a baller. He was a killer, but he made a lot of mistakes. So I liked him.
I'm kind of thinking is like calling them orphan dogs is like very disparaging, and maybe he's trying to like break them down and then build them back up. Like he seems like kind of a person who'd mess with people.
No, not Sean.
He's like, oh, they're orphan dogs, but Bo Nix is okay though. So it's like, yeah, like if I don't know,
Stidham might be the only one that fits the description that he just made.
You know, like there's guys
Wilson does too.
Zach Wilson was rehomed, so he's not technically an orphan dog.
Yeah, apparently he still is though. But like, I haven't dated in a really long time. But there's always
dating right now.
Oh, I guess. I mean, like, but
dated
I mean, that's a, like serious long-term relationship.
Gotcha.
I mean, like dating around, and but like there's the guy who always like tries to, do like the subtle put down, and then like hope that you'll like look for validation from them, and then they'll land it with something like this. And so I feel like Sean Payton is like a toxic partner.
He gives out that vibe, doesn't he?
What?
Imagine him as your father-in-law.
No.
It'd be like either the best relationship ever or just absolute hell.
Or, yeah, I feel like he'd always keep you kind of guessing because he will call you an orphan dog one day and say you're okay the next. So
that's true.
Yeah, you're an orphan dog, but my daughter picked you up.
Yeah, there was one other off-season move where Joe Burrow is getting better.
Joey Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Joe Shiesty.
Ice in his veins.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't have a what do they count? He doesn't have to. He has no restrictions with his wrist.
Yep, which is good news for Bengals fans because
That's
Bengals are
good.
back.
They're just starting OTAs, so that's very early. Yeah.
yeah, but
and
they're
we
missing
have-
they're missing Higgins right now though.
Yeah, and we have
And
some other.
he's not coming back this year.
Wait,
He's
isn't
gone.
Higgins in Tennessee?
No, he's still on the
No,
roster.
it's Boyd.
Just-
Boyd's in Tennessee. Boyd's
yeah,
in Tennessee.
Boyd's in
And
Tennessee, yeah.
somebody else went there too.
Higgins
right?
wants out.
You said Higgins doesn't come back this year?
He ain't coming back.
Why wouldn't he?
He's not signing that tag.
Hendrickson's coming back, even though he said he was holding out for a new deal and wanted to trade.
Yeah,
He said it was a misunderstanding.
They called Hendrickson bluff. They're like, "You're not going anywhere, dude."
You're like a
He's like,
mid.
"You're right."
You're like a mid-rate pass rusher at this point,
Yeah, like just go.
and you're
ahead,
hurt a lot.
hang out,
So
hang out with us for a bit. We'll get you paid at some point.
We have some other big names. Justin Jefferson isn't there, and CMC isn't there. CMC is not there because he gets beat up enough in the regular season, and they don't need him getting hurt on the off season, is my opinion. And then David
It's-
Waller isn't there, but he for the New York Giants, but he's currently dealing with a addiction to a substance
Jesus,
and
Wait, Darren Waller?
Darren Waller's
Yeah.
dealing with some
I
substance
thought he
abuse.
retired. Didn't he say he retired?
Nah, bro.
I know
understand.
this because
where is he
Antonio Brown was trying to hit on David Waller's soon-to-be ex-wife, and so this is how I got into this topic.
Antonio Brown needs to worry about bankruptcy at this point.
Antonio Brown is
Which one?
chasing after everyone's soon-to-be ex-wife.
I can understand why CMC is not OTA. It's just a lot of work carrying Brock Purdy. So
There's
Yeah, I
some
think-
guys that just don't need to go. I mean,
I think it's
right.
pain pills, but I'm not sure.
it's a reoccurring thing.
Allegedly.
A lot of guys at this point, it's voluntary OTAs, right? You
Season's
don't
long
have
enough.
to be there.
I mean, Goodell's trying to make your season 52 weeks long, so I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's trying to put the Super Bowl on like May 57th of 2027 for you. So
And it'll be on the moon probably as
and
well.
yeah, with a spaceship to Mars and fan access on Jupiter. So
It might not be a bad idea if you're coming off of I don't know. Like I can see why Burrow would want to do it because if you warm up longer,
yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for some people. CMC is so fucked up physically that there's no duration of time that's gonna make him like go back to being like healthy. So why even start?
As a
I mean,
quarterback,
you're
I
a running
think
back. You're not really doing anything anyway.
as a quarterback, I think it's more important for you to be at OTAs, especially voluntary, because you have those rookies who are coming into camp. You need to build that rapport with them. So
Yes.
if he's coming back off an injury and has no restrictions, get your ass out there. You know, same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Get out there and build that reputation, build that rapport with your receiving core. Because we saw what happened when Stafford came in, couldn't throw in the offseason in 2022, and he looked like garbage. The receivers were running terrible routes. It was just bad.
Yeah.
So get in there, do your job. Come up with a schedule with the coach. Be like, hey, I'm gonna do this for voluntary OTAs. Coach be like, all right, you good. You guys do Super Bowl, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy work, man. Easy work, easy money. You're making like $50,000 every day you step onto the field.
Just throwing a football, man.
Just throwing a football, 50 grand for 50 million a year.
Man, I would be out there with my busted shoulder throwing a football if I got
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right?
If I got paid 50 million just to put one toe on the field, I would I would crawl if I was paralyzed. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Break
Sign me
my
up.
toe off and put it on the field.
For real, like I would cut my ankle off and then like bury it in the end zone just to say, hey, I'm here.
Okay. Speaking of gruesome injuries,
Yeah.
Billy Price.
I have a diagram for you here because
Okay.
We have to look at the diagram.
Oh, we sure do. I don't know why I love class so much, but I sure
Oh, dear
do
God.
love it. So
Wow.
Can I get a diagram of Billy Price? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I never heard of the guy.
He's a Cardinal center.
That explains why I never heard of him.
And he
No,
has
no
retired.
disrespect.
He's retired abruptly at 29 after he had a terrifying blood clot incident on April 24th. He had a saddle blood clot. This is a saddle blood clot right here.
Ooh,
And
that's
that it
important.
means, and it's incredibly life-threatening, of course. The saddle clot is really big, and it lodges at the bifurcation of the pulmonary artery. So basically, it cuts off.
Wow.
So yeah, it cuts off the blood flow to both lungs at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, and as far as we know, he has no pre-existing conditions that would predispose him to clots, so it's extra like random and concerning. And he had to retire because the blood thinners he will be on for the rest of his life to prevent another one will make the NFL far too dangerous if he gets an injury. So, because you know when you're on a blood thinner, you start bleeding and you don't really stop. So,
Mm-hmm. You
yeah,
can't take those helmet to helmet hits and then have your nose bust open and you just bleed and bleed and bleed with blood thinner. Yeah, I got you.
yeah. So now we learned a little bit of science there with the saddle clot. I didn't know what a saddle clot was either. I mean, I probably would have known the more scientific term, but now I understand. I mean, how terrifying! A big ass clot lodged in, cutting off the flow to both lungs, because you can kind of like with one, you know, but at least while they're cleaning things out. But if you're cutting off both, dunzo.
Yeah.
If everybody has no further thoughts on the NFL, we've got some things going on with Major League Baseball, including
Major League
brilliant
Baseball.
umpire work. Do you disagree with the brilliant umpire work, Ryan?
Brilliant is not the word I'd look for, but however, I do have some thoughts on MLB umpires. So we bitch and moan about MLB umpires strike zones and whatnot. Turns out it's only a select few of them that are absolutely trash. Because as a league wide, I got two of them. Yeah, Angel Hernandez, you piece of junk. CB Buckner. But by the way, CB Buckner isn't even the worst umpire this year, but I'll get to that. By the numbers, league-wide baseball umps have a nearly 94% accuracy rating so far in 2024. That's as of May 4th, okay? And that's also per unofficial metric keeper scorecards, excuse me. That's down a bit from 2023, but up from a relatively miserable 90% or so in 2015. So last year they were better. This year they're absolutely atrocious compared to last year. And a lot better than 2015. Anyways, let's just talk about umpires in general. Okay. So the White Sox and Orioles played on May 23rd, 24th, right? And the game ended 8-6, Baltimore wins on a double play that was called on an infield fly and base runner interference. Okay.
Love that for the White Sox.
There was no interference on that play whatsoever. But they got together, discussed it, and called it base runner interference because the shortstop had to juke around. I wouldn't even say juke. He just kind of sidestepped to go around the guy on second base to catch a pop fly in the infield. The base runner
he was on second base?
He was in the baseline walking back to second base on an infield fly. The shortstop was playing behind this guy on second base. He walked around him, caught the pop fly, and then the umpire that was on second base said, infield fly, batter's out, and then said, runner on second base is out, game's over. Base runner interference.
So if it was infield fly, and he's going to be out automatically, and there's no possibility for a double play, why would he call that? That's really dumb.
It was a terrible call to make in that situation at that time of the game. Guy on first and second with one out, infield fly. Yeah, cool. But to call the guy on second out for walking back to second base, okay, in the baseline, he has the right to the bag. Fielder has the right to the ball. Fielder never even touched the guy on second. The guy was going back to second, but they still called it.
Well, and we had
That's-
the other incident with Bryce Harper being ejected on Friday night.
Yeah.
The Phillies, the first inning. They did
Soccer and
end
dog
up
shit.
losing the game. Bryce was emphatic and passionate, is how I would describe it, with his wording. And apparently the crew chief described it as being like extra problematic because he was arguing too much. So basically the crew chief said that Harper was apparently arguing too much about calls, and then he threw his helmet down in frustration, and that was just enough. Like he had to go. Apparently that was like the between throwing the helmet down and then arguing about repeated calls. I guess they felt like he was just really far out of line. They said his coach had him on a long leash. What is with the dog references this week?
So I will object to that.
I didn't see the whole video.
So
I'm just
Bryce,
what the crew chief said.
Yeah, I will object to what the crew chief said because that is a chicken shit call and an absolute horrible explanation. Bryce Harper was upset with strike 2.
Mm-hmm.
He voiced his opinion, went back to his at bat. He ended up striking out. He threw his helmet down. Umpire did nothing, took his mask off, did his in between inning routine. Bryce had a civil conversation with the guy, and then 5 seconds after he started the conversation, the umpire chucked him in the first inning.
He looked calm. Like, the only thing I'd seen in the video was him looking calm in the batter's box, taking his stuff off, getting ready to go out to the field. Like, he looked pretty chill having the conversation.
He was having a conversation with the umpire, and the umpire couldn't handle that he got a call wrong, and his ego took over, and then chucked Bryce out of the game in the first inning. Yeah, and I saw somebody say that DraftKings had a super bet or whatever on Bryce Harper getting a hit in that game, and coincidentally, he was ejected in the first inning. And DraftKings made a lot of money that day.
Bet they did.
So that's not okay. So Aaron, let's go back to last month or earlier this month, I believe. Aaron Boone got ejected for saying nothing in the first inning.
Craig Counsell did too, by the same guy that made the White Sox call on the interference.
Really?
Yeah. Counsell said nothing to him, and he threw him out from first base.
Wendell Stat threw out Aaron Boone. Okay, he warned him. He said, "I'm doing my job. I'm looking for the guy to get hit by the ball. I'm doing my job. You got anything else to say? You're gone." So Aaron said, "Okay, that's fine." He went back and he started talking to his, bench coach. And then he was looking out in the field. Guy behind him in the stands yelled something. This dude ejected Aaron Boone for something a fan said. And then justified it, saying it was you that said it. I remember that now. And then he said, "I don't give a damn who said it. You're gone." Okay.
Yes, you admit it.
Okay. Umpires are horrible. Robot umps are coming. I don't know when, but they're coming.
I don't want the robot umps.
So they're coming. They're not coming next year, but they're coming. I guarantee you. Rob Manfred will make sure of it.
I know. I don't want them though.
So the top umpire,
it makes it a little more spicy and fun with the umpires,
I suppose, but
you need a little more Joe West, maybe a little less Angel Hernandez, but
they're softer than dog shit, Caleb.
They are.
They need a safe space every 5 minutes when someone questions their calls.
It's about them, man.
Yeah, because we all definitely came to see umpire number 12.
I did.
Yeah, definitely not. I didn't want to see Bryce Harper hit 500-foot home run. I wanted to see that guy be home plate doing the naked gun situation, and strike. Yeah, no. So the top umpire in the league right now is Derek Thomas, who has a 96.1% accuracy rating across 6 games, and he called 1,027 called pitches. So good job for him.
6 games?
Yeah, he's only on 6 games behind the plate. It's only been 2 months of the season, so
that puts into perspective how many pitches there are in a game. Holy crap!
I guess, yeah. His lowest ranked counterpart, John Bacon, is at 90%, but has only overseen a single game in which he called 201 pitches. Angel Hernandez is at a 93.3% across 6 games behind the plate, and he's called 1,099 called pitches, which is middling, but better than you might expect. That's a hell of a lot better than I thought. That's a hell of a lot better.
90% for the worst one is a lot better than I would have thought.
The bottom line, The robo umps are maybe coming one day anyway. That's what the article said. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. We've got what 4 examples of being horrible umpires and how bad umpires need to be monitored and disciplined for their terrible calls and terrible.
Yeah,
you
they need to be
can't
held accountable.
you can't eject a guy in the first inning because he questioned you on strike 2, and then had a civil conversation with you, finding out what he needs to do to adjust to your zone. You can't do that. You can't eject somebody and then say, "I don't care who said it, you're gone."
Yeah.
No, that's being childish. That's being softer than dog shit. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
That's baseball needs to have some level of accountability for these guys, and the only thing that sounds like they have is you don't get to playoff games.
I guess,
Seems,
and then you
seems
get
to be about it.
Yeah, and then you get to file a freaking order saying you're being discriminated against, like Andrew Hernandez did.
Am I being discriminated against, or am I just really bad at my job?
The next thing we got up is Xander Bogaerts. Butchered the name.
Bogarts. It's Bogarts.
Bogarts. Yeah. He broke his shoulder diving for a ground ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it was what, 10 days?
Placed on the 10-day IL with no timetable for return.
It'll be a 60-day, I bet.
Yeah, he'll be gone until
if
June,
not season ending,
or gone until August, maybe September.
Yeah,
based on
that team is off.
Based on average recovery time for athletes, it'll be 3 months to a year.
Smell you later, Xander.
It was like a broken shoulder, right? Not dislocated.
Yeah, he broke it. Yep. He go for a ball, for a ground ball, and broke his shoulder. Yep.
Yeah. Man, 3 months to a year.
Yeah.
Man, that really puts San Diego in a tight spot at short.
Good. Well, good thing they've got like 15 middle infielders on their team now.
Oh yeah, they got a middle infielder that plays right field, so good for him.
Yeah, they can move Tatis back to short, and Luis Arias can do whatever.
Plays first base, shortstop, DH, second base, whatever.
Do whatever. He just continues to hit the crap out of the ball, though, man.
Be the San Diego Padres Taysom Hill right there. Play anywhere.
I'm thinking there wasn't too much going on in baseball this week before we move on to the final segment. Did anybody else have any thoughts on the race or
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back. He made progress in his last 2 simulated starts, so the Yankees should be getting their ace back pretty soon.
Okay. Because the next topic is a lot of very somber stories going on. Some tragedies or very scary things going on out there. The story out of golf this week was Grayson Murray withdrawing from a tournament and passing away. And there's been some stories coming out about that. Julie, you want to lead off on that part?
Yes, I sure will. His parents came forward today saying that he took his own life. So, wow. Yeah, they were really struggling with how to communicate that and how to come to terms with that themselves. So it took them a little while to come forward. We appreciate that they did, and it's totally understandable. But yeah, how old again was he? 30?
He was 30.
Yeah, and we don't need to know the details. We don't really need to know the details. It's pretty easy to understand that something happened in that realm. But yeah, totally tragic. And they said the thing that they do know, even through all of this, is that he was really well loved by the family, and they're holding on to that. He had siblings and obviously his parents, and so they're saying there was a lot of love in their home, and so they are drawing comfort from that. But it's really understandable that they're really struggling, and obviously our thoughts are with the family. And call 988 if you are ever experiencing anything that you need to talk about. If you're having any sort of ideations like that, always call 988. It is the national hotline. You can also text it. So just as a plug, there's always somebody there to talk to you. But yeah, our hearts are definitely with the family and with him. And it's always tragic, especially when someone is so young, because there's so much more potential there.
Yeah, I agree with what Julie said, and to contact people. I've known people that were going through some things, and um, the advice that people would give 10 or 20 years ago just doesn't hold water these days. There's
No,
chemical imbalances in brains. Uh, you can get a start by talking to someone, but if they give you a recipe or directive to take it further and to talk to somebody in person or to get some psychiatric or medication related help, you should follow through because, I mean, this was a 30-year-old PGA golfer, two-time winner. He's out golfing with people he knew and liked on the tour, withdrew on the 16th hole of a tournament. He was like right on the cut line for, and just to think about, for most people, that's an idyllic life to be living that way. But I mean, mental illness doesn't regard people or fame or money or anything. It just people, they hit that point in their brain, and they just need to reach out to somebody or have the people around them to help them.
yeah.
That's
And
all
you
I've
never
got.
know what someone is going through. So communication is always great, but again, it's not your fault if somebody around you does, because it's not like you always know, but that's the point. Like reaching out is always great because sometimes you don't know where someone is at and there's no obvious signs. If you do call or text 988, they will get you resources within your region, your area. They will help you find additional help that you can follow up with, just as a side note.
Yeah, definitely make sure you check up on your friends and loved ones more periodically, because the people that look the happiest on the outside often tend to be quite the opposite. And like Jay was saying, the most idealistic lifestyles don't often equate to true happiness, which can seem shocking to most of us regular people, quote unquote. But really unfortunate to see. It's, I don't know. That's just, I think about that whole process that had to go through his head on Friday, and maybe what led up to that, who knows. And curious to hear from the other golfers, like how was he? Like, was he just normal Grayson? It sounds like he was a very emotional golfer. Like, he's not like a Scotty Scheffler where there's just like calm, cool, collected. He definitely wore his heart on his sleeve on the course, which I think a lot of us can relate on. But I don't know. It's a
And
bummer.
recent research has shown that a person seeming unusually happy can often be the leading up to. So when we're asking people, it's like not so much do they seem down, but were they really up? Like these are and you wouldn't think that, right? But I guess there's some kind of euphoria that comes with knowing that your suffering is coming to an end. So
Yeah.
whew, yeah. Yeah, check on your people, even the people you don't think you need to check on. Those are the people you
Especially the
really need to
ones,
check on. Yes.
especially the ones you don't think that are shouldering everything and seem to be the most solid. Oftentimes, I mean, they're shouldering most of the stuff, so they might need a little extra encouragement, or just, hey, got your back, bro or sis. So
Yeah. Moving back, one more golf story, which weirdly again is a off the course story about a college team's entire golf club collection just being trashed uh, during the flight. The whole, I mean, how do you trash a whole team's golf
I
equipment?
will tell you because I looked into this one. The Delta baggage people, they captured video of them throwing the Eastern Tennessee State University men's team golf clubs like they were on fire. Like they were throwing these things like full force directly into the cement. Like I mean, like they were trying to take the fire out. They were just like you could hear. I mean, it was dramatic. Delta in their statement to the team requested a mulligan, which I thought was kind of funny. We don't know the extent of the damage to, or really like what the damage was overall of the clubs, but when the team came forward with their story, a lot of former or a lot of people who've driven flying God, I can't talk, have used Delta have also had broken golf club stories. So apparently this is a repeat behavior for them.
Yeah, after the way I played this morning, I should have worked for Delta. I smashed my gloves too.
Yeah, was that the actual footage, Julie, that was like online? I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was.
that's the actual footage.
That's
Yeah.
the actual footage that was online. Okay, I saw that. I thought that's just a joke. There's no way they tossed it like that. That
No,
was
they
real
tossed
life.
it like that. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how to describe it. Like, I thought like they were trying to put out a fire is the best word I knew how to use, but they were like slamming them into the tarmac. It kind of looked like Britney Spears trying to go for her Federline's windshield.
Oh dear God, that's really going back ways.
Yeah, that was the vibe that I got when they had the golf clubs. That's probably the best way I know how to describe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You kind of cut that one close.
You're welcome.
Oh man, that is so weird. East Tennessee State. I'm trying to think what conference. I think that's OVC they play in. They're a smaller conference, so
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't that many clubs, so it couldn't have been that big of a team, but
yeah, they were not SEC or they were not ACC. So ETSU is a smaller, I believe, just outside of Knoxville.
mm.
But wow. Okay, the last
Oh, I got some videos for this one.
you do?
Oh
Okay,
yeah, I
dear God.
sure do.
Okay, that's going to be awesome to look at.
Yeah, so we have Ona Batel, I don't know, Barcelona. She's a Barcelona player. That it was a championship league yesterday. They were playing the Lions. And she happened to get a very well. We will show how she got the injury and what it looked like afterwards.
Okay.
But she kept playing through the game even with a fat bandage on the side of her face. So that was really impressive. And then the Barcelona won the championship league again for the second win in 2 seasons. And then they've done 3 wins in 4 seasons. So this is the 2 consecutive, but they've had 3 in 4 years. So they're killing it, obviously. And so just a little background, but yeah, here we go. I don't think there is any sound now that I turned it up. Sometimes you don't need it. Yeah, people are like horrified. It's about to happen, yep. And she down. There is another video of her talking afterwards. She has a big nugget there. Her eye is, yeah. So she got, that's cleaned up without all the blood, of course. There was a lot of that.
Wow.
Yeah, I decided to leave that picture out of our lineup here, but it was just so that was the cleaned up version, but it's quite the egg, as you can see. And so but like I said, she put a big old bandage on there and kept playing, so very shocking.
Was it like a cleat mark?
Yeah, they somehow like they called it a collision. It's not totally clear, but it does seem like The other person was running and then like she caught it to the face. Yeah.
Yeah, she was behind, and it looked like
Yeah.
the other lady in front of her, the other player, she was pivoting.
Yeah.
And I think it may have been the left foot as she was making her turn towards the ball.
Yeah.
But
That's what I thought
yeah,
too. But
it looked nasty.
yeah, she was like, I'm down, I'm down. She was definitely down. I saw the picture. It was everywhere. It kind of looked like a war scene from a movie or something. And then yeah, but cleaned it up and bandaged up and off she went and then they won. So that's a nice ending to that story.
Wow. That's scary. And
Mm.
you wonder why it doesn't happen more often, as many collisions as there are.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of like it was pretty obvious that it was kind of just a freak accident, and so obviously you can't anticipate those, but sometimes you're not the lucky one and you're not unscathed after one. So look, Adam Johnson got a skate to the neck and now he's dead. So it's like, these things happen, but not that often, but like they're gonna catch somebody. So yeah, it's definitely a room for concern.
Wow.
But shout out to the Barcelona women's team. Also, yeah.
She seemed in much better spirits than I would have been after that happened.
Oh,
She was amazing in the video.
she is really, really a tough cookie. From what I hear, this is like quite the norm for her to keep up in high spirits and to kind of rebound. Like that seems to be her vibe. Yeah.
Warrior spirit there.
Yeah, for sure. Which I mean, I guess is pretty typical of an athlete, but yeah, no, I don't think I would be out there with a big bandage on my face playing through that. So,
True. I think that about wraps up the more uh, very sad portion of this week's proceedings. But does anyone else have any final thoughts about the topics we covered, or just anything else that you had noticed going on in the sports world that maybe we didn't get a chance to cover?
Other than umpires are terrible, I mean, probably not, sir. Probably not. Check.
Don't look now, but the Astros are 11-2 in the last 13 games.
Shut up, Caleb.
ooh,
Oh, hey.
Not good.
We didn't
Not
get to talk
good.
about the Saints. They just they made an $11.4 million renovation payment for the Superdome.
okay.
Diffusing a public standoff between the NFL club and state officials who oversee the stadium that will host the next Super Bowl. Yeah.
Nice.
They
Good for
probably
them.
need it. I've
Proud
been
of them.
there and I mean it looked nice, but you have to maintain it. And there's all the people like throwing their drinks around at people and stuff. So I guess you have to kind of like, keep things cleaned up.
Announcement of the payment by the club and the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District came hours after Saints president Dennis Lauscha, in comments published on the team's website, decreed disingenuous and unprofessional conduct by the state commission that oversees the Superdome. Also confirmed that the team's decision to hold back payments since last December stemmed from dissatisfaction over the state's posture in parallel negotiations toward a long-term Superdome lease.
What, Louisiana doing it wrong when it comes to the state
know.
officials? Holy shit. I
Easy.
would have never seen that coming.
Never, ever, never, ever, never.
No, I always said if I got murdered in New Orleans, don't even worry about trying to figure it out. Because the NOPD is. Anyway.
I'll try to figure out why you did it.
No, not if I did it. If I was the victim, like just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she do wrong to be dead?
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
Oh, another good show this week, huh? Caleb's good to be back, huh? Good to be back.
Yeah.
Back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Felt like
Everybody shout out
That
your
might have been a month.
socials. I think it's the last thing.
Oh, and to like, subscribe, comment. We did a little Memorial Day special for y'all. So,
Actually-
taking a break from the putting the shrimp on the Barbie or
Yeah.
whatever it's called, to film this. So, definitely, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Ding.
Ding!
Yeah, and my Twitter and Instagram and all that it's Miller Crime. And if you're old enough to find that funny, then we can be friends.
It's Miller time.
Yes. My
And
high
I'm-
school teachers always said that to me. I was like, anyway.
I am underage, sir. Do not solicit alcohol towards me.
Thought it was the
And
funniest thing.
I am Ajax Allen on the Twitter, or the X, as the young people call it.
On the Twitter.
But,
On the Twitter.
That kind of reminds me of the movie The Internship, where Vince Vaughn's like, put it on the internet. Or on the line. Put it on the line.
On the line. Yeah.
Online? No, on the line is what I'm saying. On the line. Put it on the line. Put it out
Yeah.
there so people see it on the line.
Yeah. How about you, Caleb? Anything to shout out?
I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. You'll find me on there. Caleb Horn somewhere.
It's like Cap something.
Your
isn't
cap.
it?
Yeah. Your cap.
Cap 11 or some shit like that. I don't know.
It's pretty cool. It's cooler than mine.
No. Mine's B's Knees 97 though.
I need to change
Okay.
that. I need to change that. Don't listen to that. I'm gonna change that.
Are you a captain?
I don't like that.
Oh, captain, my captain.
I thought he
I'm
was
the
like,
captain now.
like so cap is what I thought he was going for.
It's all cap.
Oh, cap, bro.
I should change it to no cap.
No cap 11.
Well, I mean, being honest is, ideal, but maybe not in your Twitter.
Everybody, thanks for showing up.
Okay.
And like Julie said, do all the things and hit that little bell.
Hit that little bell, yeah. Make sure you hit the bell. Because we're going to be very annoying to you guys. You need to know. Like every week. Get on it. Watch us.
Yeah, enjoy your, well, I don't know if you should enjoy Memorial Day weekend, but enjoy your long weekend, and, yes.
Well, this should drop actually.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
Memorial Day
It'll-
evening.
perfect. When you're nursing your hangover from having to be
Yes.
with in-laws tomorrow, you'll have this
Or drinking responsibly, of course.
to cover up the hangover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep that thing going. Kick the can down the road.
Okay. Amen.
Yeah, have a hangover. You don't stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Keep drinking.
All right. That's another one for the books.